And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy to have you with us as we get you ready to go for game three of this series between the 2 and 0 post 22 Hardhats and the 9 and 5 post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. It is a beautiful day for baseball. Appropriately enough, we've got to have ourselves a little center field over the intercom, and we have a nice crowd assembled as we are going to enjoy America's pastime in the sunshine at a gorgeous spring afternoon in Rapid City. We will be above 50 degrees. I know that would be cold in some places, but for us, we will take it. We will celebrate the wonderful day the Lord has made on the Lord's Day as the Hard Hats get set to take on the Stars. Well, last night sure was a great night to be a Hard Hats fan as Post 22 rallied in the bottom of the seventh inning to pull out a 10-9 victory over the Stars. It was Wilson Kiefer playing the role of the hero with his game-winning RBI as he brought home Ridge Inghofer from second base on a hit to left field. The celebration began, and the Hard Hats were 1-0, but the night got even better as Lee Negebauer had a dominant performance, a shutout over 4 innings, as great defense, even featuring a throw that you probably don't see even in most of the professional ranks from Harrison Good, gunning down a base runner from Fargo who tried to tag up from second base and try to get to third. And that's how the game ended, by the way. What a night it was. Clean sweep, a clean sweep for the post 22 Hard Hats, and the Hard Hats now get ready to go with game number three of the series in a matter of minutes. We're going to have ourselves a great game today, and you can certainly expect the Hard Hats going for the sweep. They are going to be in position to really put their best foot forward, and they want that sweep. They're going to be headed on the road with some challenging road trips to Cheyenne next weekend and Billings the weekend after that. And before they come back to this beautiful Fitzgerald Stadium and get back to their home cooking, so to speak, they would love to hit the road 3-0. And for Kelvin Torvey, the Hard Hats are playing the kind of baseball that they are known to play. They are playing their signature defense. They're being heads up on the bases. And what was really encouraging, I thought, was the caliber of defense that the Hard Hats exhibited. They made plays. They made great catches in the outfield. They were able to gun down base stealers or would-be base stealers from both the catcher position and from the outfield. And when you play that kind of defense, really good things happen. And on top of that, up and down the lineup, the Hard Hats were productive at the plate. Wilson Kiefer had a great night. Wyatt Reeder had a great night. And those two gentlemen were batting in the eighth and ninth hole positions respectively. And you look at the Hard Hats, they just played with a lot of emotion. They were intense. They were fired up. They were ready to go. And they picked up right where they left off when they won the state championship last season, their 44th all-time state championship for post 22 baseball. So when you look at the Hard Hats, what a great start it was last night. They'll look to build on that start, and it feels different when you're 3-0 compared to 2-1. You see it every year when the Major League baseball seasons begin. You know, when you start 3-0, you just feel unstoppable. You start 2-1, and you're like, I feel pretty good. But there's something about starting 3-0 that is special, and you better believe that the Hard Hats are going to be going hard today, trying to get to 3-0. And for the Fargo 400 post 400 Stars, you know that after a 9-3 start where they racked up victories in the states of Iowa, Florida, and Wyoming already this year, you better believe they do not want to come away from South Dakota empty-handed from Fargo. So expect to see the Stars putting up much more of a battle against the Hardhats than what we saw in Game 2 of last night's sweep over Post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. I had a chance to talk to one of the sportscasters for the Post 400 Stars a few minutes ago, and I have to share this story. It's such a good story, kind of a small world story. But I'm from Nebraska, and I am a huge Husker fan. I love Husker baseball, and Darren Erstad was an All-American at Nebraska before he went on to win a World Series with the California Angels, and it's just a small world. I was talking about Darren Erstad last night because I knew he was from that Jamestown, Fargo baseball community, and I was talking to Mr. Gould in the booth next to me this morning, and I found out that Darren Erstad was. That this gentleman that calls the games for the Stars was best man at Darren Erstad's wedding. He had a great story to tell about having needing to have enough players to field a team, and they put Darren Erstad before he was a professional in the lineup at number 9, and somebody just threw a fastball over the middle to Erstad that Darren Erstad hit 400 feet away from home plate, and anyway, it's just there's so many. It's such a small world, this fraternity of baseball, and it's neat to see all hear the stories and see people. But yeah, Darren Erstad, I was talking about him, and this gentleman, Mr. Gould, reminded me that Travis Hafner also played with Erstad, and Hafner was one of the top sluggers for the Cleveland Indians in the 2000s, if you remember that name from American League Baseball. But it's a small, small world here. I was talking about Darren Erstad as the first baseball person I thought of when thinking about Fargo, and then the best man for Darren Erstad's wedding, someone who was friends in the early childhood year, going back to the early childhood days with Darren Erstad, was in the booth next to me. So had to share that story. Love sharing baseball stories, and isn't that part of why we love watching or listening to a baseball broadcast? Is baseball is not one of those sports that it clips along at the pace in which you can't weave in a couple good stories or share some scores from around the major leagues or something like that. So anyway, we are happy to have you with us. My name is Mike Fell. I'm filling in for Oliver Fell, the voice of Hardhats TV. Oliver will be with you coming up. The first game for Oliver, it appears at this point, is going to be the home game against Spearfish, the doubleheader against Spearfish at home on Tuesday, May 9th. And the Post 22 Hardhats, are certainly going to have some big road games coming up in Cheyenne and Billings the next few weekends that they would love to start 3-0. They have their powder blue uniform tops on today with the red numerals and the Post 22 in the front, and the Fargo Post 400 team, they are in their home white uniforms with the blue trim and blue numerals, and we're going to have ourselves just a great time all the way around. And we're now going to watch defensive drills come out here. We've got our camera behind home plate. We know a lot of you fans love being able to see the action from behind home plate. Want to give a shout out to my new friend Darren Good and my old friend Wayne Sullivan for all of their help in getting our technical uh, positions the way we need them to be. Also want to thank Mike Mason. He assisted us with our streaming. Mike is the voice of the Post 400 Stars in Fargo, and he was kind enough to give us a couple good helpful tips. And then also want to thank Adam Birch. Adam the longtime voice of Hardhats TV the last couple of years, who's now kind of gone to a new chapter in life. He was very helpful when we worked with him earlier last week to get ready for our opening set of broadcasts here at Fitzgerald Stadium. Well, we're happy you're with us. Fargo Post 400 against the Post 22 Hardhats live from Dave Plouffe Field in Rapid City. We had a lot of viewers yesterday. Sure appreciated all of you tuning in, and we're looking forward to having you all tune in today. And should be a great day for baseball, and we're just thrilled to have you on board. I'm going to take a moment here and go ahead and fill out my scorebook and get ready for that part of the broadcast. But just stand by, and I'll try to weave in some Major League scores too. So that's what we're looking at as we go there. So anyway, just excited to have the Hardhats and the Stars coming your way next on Hardhats TV. I'll go ahead here and roll through pick up the lineups, and then we'll give you the starting lineups as we are about 15 minutes away from first pitch between the 2-0 Post 22 Hardhats and the 9-5 Post 400 Stars from Fargo. Looking at a great day for baseball. It's going to be on the cold side, but it's not going to be in the 30s. That's what we had yesterday. We had 39 degrees for our first pitch, and that is thankfully not going to be our opening temperature for this game. I think we're somewhere in the mid 40s, and we're supposed to make our way this afternoon into the low 50s. So we're going to make it into some better weather today, and boy, is that welcome. And I know we'll have a large crowd tonight or today for this game, especially because it's under the sunshine, and that just makes you feel warmer. That's for sure. And we don't have too much wind. That's a good thing, as we know that really deters us from sometimes going outside. Not that we can't handle the wind, but that wind can make things very uncomfortable, and also just really lower the wind chill on us when it's still cold. So hopefully we have a light breeze that's going to continue. Looking at the flags, the breeze right now is seemingly coming from the northeast. If anything, the wind is kind of coming from the east, which is not something we see very often, where we, of course, live in the part of the world with prevailing westerly winds. But looks like the wind will be blowing in from left field today for this matchup between the Hardhats and the Stars. Mike Fell with you. I'm filling in for Oliver Fell, who will be joining us. Oliver will be heading north from Arizona State University to call the games for all of you this summer. And I'm just a proud dad that also broadcasts games, but most of my broadcasts are involved, if you may know this, some of you may not, with St. Thomas More High School. And just happy to be filling in for some Post 22 baseball these first 3 weeks of the season till Oliver can make it up here. All right. Looks like I have the lineup written down for the Post 400 Stars. I'm broadcasting while I'm writing down the lineups, and we just do this because we want to make a good solid early connection with all of you fans, and we don't want to limit the sound of the broadcast by rushing in 15 minutes to get to the broadcast. That's just not the way I think that you fans want it, or how I want to deliver the broadcast. So we go a full 30 minutes on our pregame show, and just we will have you comfortable, ready to go with the lineup cards filled out, and nothing will sound sound rushed, and that's how we really want it to be. So that's what we're looking at as we get through the pregame show. I'm just writing down the lineups for both of these teams. Want to thank Darren Good for getting those lineups for us. Darren Good, Harrison Good's father, and just a great guy. I just love getting to meet new friends here at the ballpark, and what a super guy Darren is, and happy to have him helping us on Hardhats TV this season. All right, I'm now going to write down, and we'll take a peek at some of the scores if we can from around the big leagues. I know that the Philadelphia Phillies were leading the Colorado Rockies 4-3. That was happening earlier and today, and we'll see if that plays itself out for the rest of that game. The Rockies are really having problems, but when you don't spend any money on your team, you're not going to win a lot of games, and that's pretty much the situation with Colorado Rockies baseball. If you're a Rockies fan, I don't want to burst your bubble, but I'm guessing you probably agree with the statement I just made. You don't spend a lot of money on your team, you're probably not going to win a lot of games. It's kind of how it works most of the time. All right, I'm writing down the lineup for the post 22 stars now, and pretty similar lineup to what we saw in the two victories last night. Lee Negebauer is going to be hitting today. He pitched a 4-inning shutout in the victory in the nightcap last night. And Lee is going to be starting at designated hitter and batting sixth today, so that's exciting news. Philip Bentz is going to get the start behind home plate today. And Wilson Kiefer is going to keep on doing his good work in the 9-hole, it looks like. And then it's like Brian Atkinson is going to be our starting pitcher for the Hardhats. So we'll go ahead. I'm just going to double check everything, and we'll get to the starting lineups momentarily. Happy to have you with us on this beautiful, crisp spring April day at Dave Plouffe Field. The Hardhats trying to sweep the Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. Fargo, a community with tremendous fan support for everything they do. Of course, NDSU Bison, a big part of the Fargo community. And the Bison have a tremendous tradition, especially in football, where they've won numerous national titles in recent years. But they love their baseball, and as sure as Darren Erstad and Travis Hafner made it to the big leagues, some of these players here for post 400, they have those same dreams in Fargo, and maybe they will make those dreams come true. I mean, you look at like the Pittsburgh Pirates right now, and they're 15-7. They're playing great baseball, and hardly anyone knows who their players are. But they made their dreams come true, and they're winning. It's good to see that. Especially if you're a Pirates fan, which I am not. But if you are, good for the Pirates. We are continuing to fill out the lineup card, getting you ready to go here. And we are moments away from sharing the starting lineups for the post 400 stars and your post 22 Hardhats today. Post 22, 2-0 to start the year. And we're going to have a great crowd on hand to cheer on the Hardhats today. And boy, this is just the best family value in town. I was talking with General Manager Wayne Sullivan about the tremendous value it is to get a family pass, get a pass, and you get to see so many Hardhats games and Expos games and Cadets games, and you just get to pretty much make this beautiful ballpark your home away from home, and you get to see the stars of today and the stars of tomorrow, and it truly is a great way to go this summer. So if you haven't bought your season pass yet, why don't you do it now? Go ahead and come on down to the ballpark, cheer on the Hardhats, and get your pass, and then you can get in and cheer for the Hardhats all summer long right here in Rapid City. Post 22 and Post 400 getting ready to go. Let's go ahead and we'll take a short 1-minute timeout and come back with the starting lineups. It's the Stars and it's the Hardhats. It's coming up next right here on Hardhats TV. How's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Did you and your wife have a good lunch?
We did.
Great.
Good afternoon,
All right, we're going to go ahead now and get to the starting lineups. First for the visitors, the Post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. They come in with a record of 9-5. They were swept by our Hardhats last night. Let's look at the starting lineup for the Fargo Stars. Leading off for Fargo, it's the catcher Caleb Christensen. Batting second, Matt Bryant, the second baseman. Hitting third, shortstop Colby Hansen. Batting fourth, Gunnar Majerus, the first baseman. Hitting fifth and playing center field, Jake Jaroszewski. Hitting sixth and playing third base, Ashton Renas. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Caton Newbarth. Batting eighth, the right fielder, Malachi Weremeyer. And hitting ninth, Kane Mathiasen, the left fielder. So for the Post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota, it's Christensen, Bryant Hansen, Majerus Jaroszewski, Renas, Newharth, Weremeyer, and Mathiasen for the 9-5 Post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. For your 2-0 Post 22 Hardhats, managed by Kelvin Torvey, the Hardhats lineup reads this way. Leading off for the third time in this series, left fielder Zeke Farley. Batting second, the center fielder Marion Saylor. Hitting third, it's Hayden Hollick, the third baseman. Boy, did Hayden play an outstanding hot corner defensively last night. Batting fourth, the right fielder, and this young man can do it all, and boy, does he have a strong arm. Harrison Good, batting cleanup for the Hardhats. Hitting fifth in the lineup for Coach Torvey, it's first baseman Alex Dietrich. Batting sixth, coming off a 4-inning shutout masterpiece last night, it's designated hitter Lee Negebauer. Batting seventh, at playing second base, it's Peyton Tipton. Hitting eighth, it's catcher Philip Benz. And batting ninth, it's shortstop Wilson Kiefer. So for the Hardhats, as you're filling out your scorebook this afternoon, it's Farley, Saylor, and Hollick. Good, Dietrich, and Negebauer, and Tipton, Benz, and Kiefer for your 2-0 Post 22 Hardhats who go for the sweep today. On the mound for the Hardhats, getting the start, it's Brian Atkinson for Post 22, and the starting pitcher for the Post 400 Stars, we are told, is Calvin Jungling. And that is a look at your lineups for the Hardhats and the Stars. Winning teams, the Hardhats are 2-0, the Stars are 9-5, and now we will stand and salute America with our national anthem. Avery DuPont will perform our national anthem here at Fitzgerald Stadium today.
And now, fans, at this time, as we get ready to honor our great country with the
that was a great performance by Avery DuPont as the Post 22 Hardhats get ready to take on the Post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. The Stars are in their home white jerseys with the blue numerals with the red, white, and blue insignia across the front. And actually, it said their uniforms say Astros. They do not look as though they're the Stars today. They says that there some. I guess there are some Stars and there are some Astros, but we're gonna call them the Stars because that's their team name. The Post 22 Hardhats have taken the field in their classic powder blue tops with the white pants and the red helmets and red numerals with Rapid City across the front. There's just something very classic about the powder blues on Sunday. When I was growing up, I used to go down to Kansas City with my dad and watch George Brett and Steve Balboni and Kevin Seitzer and all those great Royals, John Wathen and all those guys, Buddy Biancalana, all those great Royals, and they would wear their powder blue tops on Sundays. It was a tradition that they had in place as a relatively young American League franchise, and it's kind of neat. I don't know if there's any connection at all to the Powder Blues on a Sunday. Maybe Wayne Sullivan can help me out with that. Here's a question: Powder Blues on Sunday. Is there any reason or tradition with that?
No, there's no tradition. I think a lot of times the coaches allow the seniors to pick what they want to wear, and that's how they decide what's on game day.
All right, thanks for that explanation. I like the Powder Blues. I'm a fan. Of course, I'm a Chargers fan in the NFL season, and Chargers wear Powder Blues as they win a lot of their games wearing Powder Blues. That means they're usually at home against a not so good opponent, but usually what happens when they wear their Powder Blues. So here we go. The game is about to begin. Here comes the tradition. All the players coming up on the pitcher's mound and touching their hard hats, touching their red helmets together, and we are underway. The hard hats get ready to go, and it'll be Caleb Christensen leading things off for the Post 400 Stars. Here comes the first pitch from Brian Atkinson, and that pitch is outside for ball one. Our game gets started at 1:02 local time. Here comes the second pitch to Christensen. Ball smashed over to Hollick at third. Throw across the diamond is in time, and the Hard Hats retire the leadoff hitter for Post 400 as Game 3 in this three-game set is underway. Hayden Hollick, he plays an outstanding hot corner. It is really hard to get the ball past Hayden, and if it's near Hayden Hollick, he does a great job fielding his position. Here comes the pitch from Atkinson, and it is high and outside for a ball. Brian Atkinson, right-handed pitcher, likes to change speeds and get the hitter off balance. Here comes the pitch from Atkinson. It's outside for ball two, and that time the helmet fell off of Atkinson. You don't see that very often, that a pitcher wears a helmet. Usually a pitcher's just wearing a cap. Here comes a pitch from Atkinson. Ball hit hard towards second base, gobbled up by the second baseman. Throw to first in time. So a very efficient pair of ground outs for Brian Atkinson. Gets the first two hitters of the Stars lineup retired, and it's a good play there by Peyton Tipton, who was playing second base today. Very sure-handed move there by the middle infielder for Post 22. Here comes now Colby Hansen. Colby looking to get something going here, trying to avoid a 1-2-3 start to this game for post 400. First pitch is a ball, second pitch outside for ball 2. You sure feel a lot better as a Hardhats fan when you can get those first 2 players retired. Takes a lot of the pressure away. Here comes the next pitch, and it is going to hit Colby Hansen. And Colby will take a base with a hit by pitch. And hard to say that Brian Atkinson is struggling with any control, but he has thrown more balls to this point than he has thrown strikes. Here comes the number 4, the cleanup hitter in the lineup for post 400, Gunnar Majerus. Majerus waits for the pitch, and that's a swing and a miss. It looked as though Majerus was thinking fastball, and Atkinson had another idea in mind. 0-1 pitch now coming up to Gunnar Majerus. Pitch to Majerus, hit hard to right field. That's a hit. And the base runner at first will advance to third. And he is safe. Good throw there from Harrison Good, but the throw was not in time. And so just like that, Gunnar Majerus with a single, the first hit of the ball game off of Brian Atkinson, now gets a pair of stars at the corners for Jake Jaroszewski, the right-handed hitter for Fargo post 400. 2 on, 2 out. Atkinson's pitch is outside, and that's going to bring home a run for Fargo post 400. A wild pitch by Brian Atkinson brings home Colby Hansen, who reached base on a hit by pitch with 2 outs. And the Stars have managed to score first after their first 2 hitters were retired unceremoniously with groundouts. So now Jake Jaroszewski has a man at second base, and there's a pitch outside, and big Jake Jaroszewski with an opportunity with a man in scoring position to build on this 1-0 lead here in the top of the first inning. Pitch is low and outside for ball 3. We're happy you're with us today. It's a beautiful day for baseball. America's pastime being played at Fitzgerald Stadium on the first baseball weekend of 2023. And there's ball 4 as Jake Jaroszewski draws the first base on balls of the game. So after a pair of infield groundouts, Atkinson now has had a hit by pitch, given up a single, and just gave up his first base on balls. Runners at first and second, 2 outs now, pitching to Ashton Renas. Ashton Renas, the third baseman, fouls off the first pitch he sees from Brian Atkinson. Atkinson, squarely focused on home plate, doesn't even look back to check the runners, throws home, and that's a bouncer. That's ball 1. Atkinson just kind of starting to show signs he just can't locate some of the off-speed pitches the way he wants to. 1-1 count, 2 out, 2 on. Pitch from Atkinson is outside for ball 2. Give credit to Philip Benz. He's doing a fine job behind the plate. Some of these pitches are well outside the strike zone, and Philip's doing a good job to prevent these wild pitches from getting back to the screen. There's a pitch over and inside the strike zone for strike 1, and that evens the count at 2-2. So there's a 2-2 count, 2 on with 2 out. Big pitch here for Brian. Brian's pitch is fouled away. Oh, man. Ashton Renas just got a piece of that pitch on the outside part of the strike zone. That was nearly strike 3. Count remains at 2-2 with 2 outs. The runners should be going here. We'll see. Pitch is popped up. It might be playable. And it just barely goes into foul territory beyond first baseman Alex Dietrich for post 22. So there have been two sequences where just barely Ashton Renas has stayed alive. And now we'll see if Brian Atkinson can, on this third pitch on a 2-2 count, get the batter and get out of this inning with just a 1-0 score on the board. Here's a pitch from Atkinson. The ball is fouled away again. It was a dribbler down the first base line. So Atkinson, so close, not once, not twice, but 3 times to get out of this inning. Let's see what happens next. Atkinson looks to Benz, gets a sign. He looks, checks the hitter, throws, and the ball is drilled to left field, but playable, and it is caught for out number 3. Making the catch is Zeke Farley in left field. What a great piece of hitting by Brian Atkinson. He did not waver. He stuck with it with dogged determination, and Atkinson able to get out of the top of the first with just a 1-run total on the board for post 400. So after a half inning of play for the post 400 Stars, they're able to score 1 run, 1 earned. There was only 1 hit, and there were no errors committed, and there were 2 men left on base. So in the middle of the first inning, with post 22 getting ready to come to bat for the first time today, it's post 400 1 and the post 22 Stars coming up. Glad to have you with us this afternoon for some baseball. Got a nice crowd on hand, a lot of viewers watching as well, and just make yourself comfortable on this Sunday. You never know what kind of weather you're going to see this time of year. I remember growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, when it was 101 degrees on Easter Sunday on April 22nd. And you know what I was doing that day besides playing in the back, some baseball in the backyard? I was listening to a doubleheader from Yankee Stadium. This was 1988 with the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. Some vivid Sunday baseball memories on a Sunday afternoon in April. Here comes the pitch from Jungling, and it's fouled away by Zeke Farley. The count is 1-1 to Farley. Zeke had a good game last night, looking to build on the doubleheader sweep success out of the leadoff position from less than 24 hours ago. Pitch is outside for a ball. It's a 2-1 count. There are no outs. We're just underway here in the bottom of the first inning. Post 22 trailing 1-0. Brian Atkinson doing a good job to strand a pair of runners and prevent the 2-out rally from being a much more significant development in the early moments of this game. Zeke Farley is going to foul the ball away. We're going to have some children chase after the loose foul ball. You always have to love those races for the foul ball. I remember once upon a time I was in Verdigris, Nebraska, and if you could chase down a foul ball at the softball tournament between some of the town teams, you could get 10 cents for every foul ball you picked up. You got your foul ball, you had to chase the ball and get there before somebody else could, and then you brought a foul ball back, they gave you a dime. Of course, back then a dime could get you a phone call. Doesn't work like that now. Ball is fouled away down the right field line. So Zeke Farley is retired a moment ago. And now Marion Saylor is up to bat. Jungling, the starting pitcher for post 400, Calvin Jungling, off to a good start. He's got a good rocking motion delivery. It's not the biggest pitcher I've seen, but he looks as though he's confident and he's just going to work here in Rapid City this afternoon. Here comes Jungling's pitch to Mars Saylor, and that pitch is ball 3. So it's a 3-1 count in favor of Marion Saylor's favor. We will see what happens next. Calvin Jungling waits for the sign, pitches. That's a swing and a miss, and I guess technically it was a foul ball. And that makes it a full count. Glad to have you with us live from Fitzgerald Stadium on the west part of Rapid City. Pitch to Saylor is rolled to Hollick, and Hollick throws in time to Alex Dietrich at first base, and that's a ground out. So 2 up and 2 down. And now, actually check that, it was the third baseman for Fargo for post 400 that made the play. It was Ashton Renas that made the play, and he was able to throw the ball to retire Marion Saylor. Playing first is Gunnar Majerus for post 400. So now 2 up, 2 down for the Hardhats, and Hayden Hollick comes to the plate. Hayden, the right-handed hitter, going up against a right-handed pitcher who bounces the ball up to home plate against Hollick. Count is 1-1. Jungling matched up with Hollick here in the bottom of the first inning, with Fargo 400 leading 1-0. Pitch to Hollick, again a bouncer before the ball could even reach home plate. It's now a 2-1 count. On deck is Harrison Good for post 22. Hollick waits for the 2-1 pitch from Jungling, and that's a swing and a miss on a high fastball. And the count evens at 2-2. Hayden Hollick looking for his pitch. He clearly wanted to hit that ball high in the zone a moment ago. Here comes the pitch to Hollick, and Hollick pops it up. And I think the first baseman's going to call for it, and he does, and he makes the catch. Gunnar Majerus makes the grab as he ventured into the outfield down the first base line, and that is a F3 if you're scoring at home. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Hardhats here in the bottom half of the first. Calvin Jungling, the starting pitcher for post 400 from Fargo, able to get a 1-2-3 inning. So there were no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. And we go to the second inning with post 400 leading 1-0. Coming up will be the bottom of the order for the post 400 stars. It will be Caden Newbarth, Malachi Weremeyer, and Kane Mathiasen. And if anyone gets on, it'll be the top of the order, Caleb Christensen, coming to the plate for post 400. We'll go ahead and take a look at our weather situation, see how we're doing as far as the temperature. At first pitch today, we were at 48 degrees. That's where we are right now. 48 degrees at first pitch. That's 9 degrees warmer than the first pitch of game 1 last night when it was 39 degrees. And game number 2 was played in the mid-30s, between 35 and 36 degrees the whole night. So it is a cold opening weekend of baseball here in Rapid City, but it's been a good opening weekend of baseball already. By the way, the ball is drilled on the first pitch to Howick. Howick throws across the first, but Alex Dietrich can't come up with the ground ball. What an effort by Hayden Howick at the hot corner. He looked like Brooks Robinson on that one. He throws the ball across the way, but first baseman Alex Dietrich dropped the ball as he attempted to get the ball simultaneously and apply the tag. So Caden Newbarth able to reach base with a base hit. And now we've got a sacrifice bunt. Only play is to first, and that throw is in time from Brian Atkinson to Alex Dietrich. So a sac bunt by Malachi Weremeyer goes 1-3 for the first out of the inning, but that pushes Caden Newbarth into scoring position with one out. And now Kane Mathiasen, the number 9 hitter in the lineup, will come up to bat for post 400. Mathiasen hits the ball towards the second baseman. Throw to first is in time, and that's out number 2. Kane Mathiasen with a 4-3 put out on a grounder. And Brian Atkinson in this game has been able to get 4 of his 5 outs so far by way of the infield ground out. Good to see Atkinson using his defense. That's an important element of pitching, especially at this American Legion high level. First pitch to Caleb Christensen is a strike. Caleb grounded out as the leadoff man back in the first inning, trying to bring home Caden Newbarth from third base right here. Second pitch by Atkinson is outside for a ball. Seems as though Atkinson's getting in more of a groove, and he's pitching to contact, and I think that is so important when you can do that. There's a wild pitch, but the runner will not attempt to score. That was a wise decision by the third base coach for post 400. He saw that the pitch bounced right off the back screen very quickly, and that would have probably been an out had Newbarth been sent home. Ball is hit towards third base, and it's a foul ball. And now Christensen is facing 2-2 with 2 outs. Can Brian Atkinson, for the second consecutive inning to start this ball game, limit the damage by stranding a base runner with a 2-2 count? Caleb Christensen trying to bring home Caden Newbarth in an attempt to put the Stars up 2-0. Here comes the pitch, and it's outside, and Phillip Benz, man, he is really fielding his position valiantly. He is getting in front of everything he can. Some of these pitches are marvelous, but some of these pitches seemingly have a mind of their own. Count is full at 3-2. Here comes the payoff pitch to Christensen, and the ball is popped up out of play. So we'll do it all over again. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Christensen trying to bring home Newbarth from third base. It's a 1-0 ball game with the Hardhats trailing at the moment. Ball is over home plate, but fouled away, and give Christensen credit. Caleb Christensen with that good old-fashioned b-hack, able to protect home plate with a full count. Here comes the pitch to Caleb Christensen from Brian Atkinson, and that ball is hit foul down the third base line and out of play. Atkinson showing a lot of pitches in this at bat, and keep in mind this is the second AB for Caleb Christensen against Atkinson so far in this game. Here comes the payoff pitch from Atkinson. It's a wild pitch, but it'll be ball 4. So the runners will be at the corners, and we will bring in Matt Bryant. Bryant will try to do some damage to the Hardhats' hopes of going 3-0 to start the year. Runners are at the corners. There are 2 outs. Atkinson faces the left-handed hitter Matt Bryant. His first pitch is outside for ball 1. There is a base open for Atkinson, but certainly he would like to get out of this inning and start to limit his pitches just a bit. Here's a pitch. It goes up the middle. It's off the pitcher, and that'll bring home a run. And it's 2-0 in favor of Post 400 from Fargo, North Dakota. An infield, actually it's going to be an E1, and they call the error against Atkinson. The ball went right back to Atkinson. It was hit pretty hard, but he's charged with an error, and that error brought home Caden Newbarth to make it 2-0 in favor of the Stars. So the Hardhats trail for only the second time in the series. They were down 8-6 in the middle of the 4th inning last night in game 1 between these 2 teams. Ball hit the second, and that will be an easy force play at the second base bag as the Hardhat shortstop Wilson Kiefer able to jog over to second and retire Caleb Christensen. So it'll be a U6, an unassisted 6 to retire Christensen. Matt Bryant is stranded at first base, but the Stars do manufacture a run, able to accomplish some pair of sacrifices to make it 2-0. So there was 1 run, was not earned. There were 2 errors committed in the top half of the 2nd inning, and there was 1 hit. And through 2 inning and a half of baseball, it's Post 400 2, Post 22-0. There was 1 man left on base. So for Post 400 in the top of the 2nd inning, for the 2nd consecutive inning, the Stars score against the Hardhats. They were able to plate Caden Newbarth, and for the Stars, they were able to get the run on 1 hit. There were 2 errors, and there was 1 man left on base. So we now shift to the bottom half of inning number 2. The Hardhats will have Harrison Good, Alex Dietrich, and Lee Negebauer coming to the plate to battle Calvin Jungling, the starting pitcher for Post 400. The Stars trying to get off the mat, as they say, after a 13-0 drubbing in the 2nd game of the Twin Bill yesterday. Stars accounting for themselves well. I'm sure they got a good night's sleep at the hotel and been eager to try to get out of this series, a series they know that the Hardhats have already clinched. They would like to certainly get on the bus and make that long drive back to Fargo with the W, and Stars certainly would like to be 10-5 instead of 9-6. We're back to action. There's a swing and a miss. Harrison Good swings at an off-speed offering, and the count begins at 0-1. From Jungling to Harrison Good. Here comes the pitch to Good. He lays down a bunt. It's a good one. Jungling has a play, throws to first, and he has his man as Harrison Good is retired 1-3. Good trying to reach with a bunt single, but despite the fact Good has good wheels, he is thrown out. Jungling very calmly, did not panic there. He fielded the bunt and made sure of his throw to first base to Gunnar Majerus to retire the leadoff hitter for Post 22. Alex Dietrich now steps in. Dietrich, he hit in the number 6 spot in both games last night. He's batting 5th today. He's moved up in the order. Pitch from Jungling is over for a strike, and the count is even at 1-1. Alex Dietrich, the first baseman, trying to get some base traffic going. The Hardhats yet to pick up a hit against Calvin Jungling. And that is a base hit. That's a case of good old-fashioned sports announcer reverse jinx. I said the Hardhats didn't have a hit, and the moment I said that, bang, there is a base hit by Alex Dietrich to center field, and Dietrich gets the first hit of the ball game for post 22, and now Dietrich will try to advance to second base, and here comes left-handed slugger Lee Negebauer. Lee pitched a marvelous shutout last night to help the Hardhats get to 2-0 to start the year. Now he's going to try to do something big at the plate today as a designated hitter. Negebauer, who plays quarterback and is the second leading scorer for St. Thomas More in basketball. Fine baseball player for post 22. Here comes the pitch. It's high to Negebauer and outside, and Lee quickly has worked the count to 3-0. We'll see here if Lee has the green light or the stop sign on 3-0. Jungling's pitch is over, and he had the stop sign, that's for sure. Negebauer was willing to take a pitch there on 3-0. Alex Dietrich takes off for second. There's a swing and a miss, and that's a stolen base as the catcher for post 400 was not able to make a clean exchange between his glove and his throwing motion. And that now puts a man in scoring position. Dietrich is at second. Full count to Negebauer. Ball is fielded at first. Run to the base is going to be a successful run to first base by the Stars first baseman Gunnar Majerus. So Negebauer able to advance a runner from second to third in Alex Dietrich, but Negebauer is retired with a U3, first base unassisted. And now Peyton Tipton will try to bring home Alex Dietrich from third base with 2 outs, and Tipton fouls away the pitch to start this at bat. Peyton Tipton is batting 7th in the lineup for Coach Torvey, trying to make it a 2-1 game here. An off-speed slow pitch from Jungling goes outside, and the count evens at 1-1. Peyton Tipton trying to get the Hardhats on the board right here. Calvin Jungling winds pitches, and that ball is inside for a ball. Jungling not throwing very hard the last 2 pitches. It almost seems like he's just not feeling it at the moment. Calvin Jungling's next pitch is a swing and a miss, strike 2. I would say the velocity on Jungling's pitches right now is somewhere in the 50s, if the 60s. 2-2 count now to Peyton Tipton. Runner at third for post 22, and there's a bouncer for ball 3, and the count goes full to the Hardhats second baseman, Peyton Tipton. Tipton now with a golden opportunity to see a pitch to hit here on 3-2. Here comes the pitch from Jungling, and it is outside for ball 4. And now the Hardhats have the tying run at first base. Dietrich is at third. Tipton's at first with 2 outs for Philip Benz, the catcher. Philip Benz looks over to third base, the third base coaching box. Calvin Torvey giving him some instruction. Calvin Jungling now facing his first threat of the afternoon. Runners at the corners, 2 outs. Throw back to first base, and Tipton dives back in easily. The Post 22 Hardhats trailing 2-0. They send a runner, and that'll be a stolen base for Peyton Tipton. And now the Hardhats have the tying runs in scoring position. That pitch to Bentz, by the way, was a strike. So here comes an 0-1 pitch. Golden opportunity for the Hardhats to tie this game right here, right now. Second pitch is outside for a ball. 1-1 is the count. There are 2 men out. There are 2 on in scoring position in a 2-0 ball game here in the second inning. And that is a hit by pitch as that inside offering to Phillip Benz hit Phillip. And now the bases are loaded for Wilson Kiefer. Last night in game 1, Wilson Kiefer had a inside the park home run that got the fans to their feet. Could we see something like that again? Could lightning strike twice 2 days in a row? We shall see. Bases are loaded with Hardhats. 2 outs. Calvin Jungling, who cruised through the first inning, has a major jam here in the second. Pitch to Kiefer is outside for ball number 1. It's a 1-0 count. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Force play in effect at every station. Second pitch is outside for ball 2. It's a 2-0 count. Remember, there's no place to put Kiefer for Calvin Jungling and the Stars. Pitch by Jungling is outside for ball 3, and now Wilson Kiefer can be extremely selective. He probably has the take sign. Let's see what the next pitch is. That's ball 4, and we've got ourselves a 2-1 ball game. Good piece of hitting by Wilson Kiefer to draw the walk. He never swung at a bad pitch, and now the bases are loaded in a 2-1 ball game as Alex Dietrich crosses home plate. So we have a 2-1 game. The post 400 skipper is talking to Calvin Jungling with the infielders drawn onto the pitcher's mound, and we now get ready for the top of the order to come to the plate for post 22. It'll be Zeke Farley getting ready to try to do some serious damage in this game, perhaps give the Hardhats their first lead today, with the Stars on top of the Hardhats 2-1 here in the bottom of the second inning. We're so glad to have you with us. It's a crisp, cool day, around 50 degrees here in Rapid City. First pitch from Jungling is high for ball 1. Zeke Farley was retired his first time up. We'll see what he can do here. With the bases loaded in a 2-1 ball game. Pitch from Jungling is a swing and a miss, and the count evens at 1-1. Zeke Farley with a base hit almost certainly would put the Hardhats in front 3-2. We'll see if the Hardhats can take the lead here or perhaps even pull into a tie here in inning number 2. Happy you're with us today. Good crowd on hand at Fitzgerald Stadium. Pitch is wild, and that'll tie the ball game. Jungling with a bouncer that could not be handled by Stars catcher Caleb Christensen just makes the score 2-2 as Peyton Tipton is able to cross home plate to tie this game. And now we have a 2-1 count to Zeke Farley as Benz is at third base and Kiefer, also in scoring position, stands at second. Of course, now a base is open, and there's a strike, or rather ball 3. It's now a 3-1 count to Zeke Farley. 2 men in scoring position. They represent the go-ahead runs. Ball hit hard to short. Throw to first is not handled. It's an error on the first baseman, and 2-run score for Rapid City post 22. The Hardhats have taken the lead 4-2 on Gunnar Majerus's fielding error at first base. What a huge first error of the ball game for post 400. An error on the first baseman allows both Philip Benz and Wilson Kiefer to score as the go-ahead runs for the Hardhats. And now post 22 leads 4-2 here in the bottom of the second inning. This has been a rally that has essentially been made possible by great plate discipline and loss of control and composure by Calvin Jungling, who just hits a Marion Saylor and puts Saylor at first base. So now Zeke Farley is at second base. Marion Saylor's at first base, and here comes Hayden Hollick as the Hardhats have managed to bat around here in the second inning with the Hardhats leading 4-2, getting all of their runs here in the bottom of the second. That pitch is over for a strike, and there's a double steal as Farley steals third base and Saylor steals second. A successful double steal called by Calvin Torvey, and now it's a 4-2 game with 2 men back in scoring position with 2 outs. Pitch from Jungling is high for a ball, and the count evens at 1-1. Now, I'm not sure if Jungling is the regular Sunday starter for post 400 or not. We were told some of the post 400 stars did not make this road trip because there was a prom in the Fargo, North Dakota area that was held last night. Ball is delivered to Hollick. Hollick hits it deep, and it is gone. No, it's against the wall. It was almost gone. A 2-run stand-up double by Hayden Hollick makes it 6-2, and the fans go wild here at Fitzgerald Stadium as Zeke Farley and a Marion Saylor score, and it's now 6-2 in favor of the Hardhats. That matches the score that the Hardhats had in the third inning against the Stars in Game 1 that they won last night. So Hayden Hollick with a 2-run double, and now Harrison Good comes to the plate with Hollick standing at second base with a healthy lead. How about the Hardhats trying to start the year 3-0? You have to be so proud of these Hardhats. Here comes the pitch from Jungling. The ball is hit inside the third base bag, deep into the corner of the park. That'll score a run, and a back-to-back stand-up RBI double by Harrison Good as the number 10 hitter in the second inning makes it 7-2. Harrison Good drilled a pitch just inside the bag and beyond the outstretched glove of the third baseman for the Stars, Ashton Renas. And just like that, it's 7-2 as Hayden Hollick is driven home with back-to-back doubles coming from Hollick and Good here in the bottom of the second inning. And now Alex Dietrich will come to bat. Good takes off for second, and he is safe. Harrison Good turns on the afterburners and steals third. And now Good is 90 feet away from the Hardhats, scoring 8 runs here in the bottom of the second against Stars pitcher Calvin Jungling. Here comes a 2-0 pitch to Dietrich. Dietrich hits it up the middle. Throw to first is caught, and that will retire the side. But what a tremendous bottom of the second inning as 11 Hardhats come to the plate. Post 22 scores 7 runs on a total of 3 hits. There was one big error committed that could have kept the score much lower, and there was one man left on base that was trying to score. Through 2 innings of play, it is post 22-7. The post 400 Stars from Fargo, nothing or 2. This is post 22 Hardhats TV. More coming up after this. We're glad you're with us. It's a beautiful day for baseball, and it's a great performance by your Hardhats yet again. Within 24 hours, the Hardhats have been able to score 30 runs. That's right. They scored 10 runs in game 1 last night, 13 runs in a 4-inning shutout performance in the late game last night, and then the Hardhats have been able to put up 7 runs through 2 innings today, and through just 13 innings of baseball, the Hardhats have scored 30 runs against post 400 pitching from Fargo. How about these Hardhats? They are just putting on a clinic and playing like the reigning state champions that they are. We get to action here in the top of the third. Colby Hansen will lead things off. He faces Brian Atkinson, who now has the benefits of a big cushion with a lot of run support being provided in the bottom half of the previous inning. It's post 22 Hardhats 7 and the post 400 Stars from Fargo 2. We're in the top of the third inning. Great crowd on hand. It is a crisp, sunny spring afternoon. A lot of fans making their way to the ballpark after they enjoy Mass and worship the good Lord today, and then coming here sometimes after maybe a brunch or a meal. And that pitch from Atkinson gets away from Philip Benz, the starting catcher today. We've got a 2-2 count to Colby Hansen. Hansen reached base and scored in the first inning. He was hit by a pitch as the first man to reach base in this game for the Stars. And there's a clean base hit between the third baseman and the shortstop. Colby Hansen able to knock a single through the hole on the left side of the infield for post 400. And that'll bring up with the leadoff man aboard, Gunnar Majerus. Gunnar had a single his first time up, and he will try to advance the runner here. Of course, when you're down by 5 runs, your approach at the plate changes quite a bit. We'll see if Gunnar Majerus tries to drive this ball or just tries to be selective and get on base, because the Stars need a lot of runs. They're down 5. Pitch is outside for a ball. It's now, or actually it was over for a strike. It just wasn't handled on the outer edge by the pitcher. So the count goes even to 1-1. 1 on, nobody out. Atkinson pitches, and that pitch is high for ball 2. Post 22 Hardhats have probably started 3-0 plenty of times. It never gets old, that's for sure. And that's what the Hardhats are trying to accomplish this afternoon against Fargo. Here comes the pitch, and it's outside for ball 3. Atkinson trying to accomplish something he was able to do the first 2 innings in this game, and that is retire at least one of the post 400 Stars among the first 2 hitters he faces. But that won't happen this inning, as Hansen, or rather Majerus, draws ball 4 on a base on balls, and now we have something brewing for post 400. They have 2 on and nobody out. Catcher Philip Benz talking to his pitcher, maybe trying to settle Brian Atkinson down, perhaps reminding him that it's a 5-run ball game, just throw strikes. Jake Jaroszewski now comes up to hit, the number 5 hitter for post 400. 2 on, nobody out. Rally brewing for post 400 here. And there's a swing and a miss. That was a marvelous pitch by Brian Atkinson for post 22. Jake Jaroszewski, a dangerous hitter at the plate. Right-hander against right-hander here. Pitch is high, and that is a strike. Throw back to first is not in time. Good idea there by Philip Benz, trying to catch Gunnar Majerus being off first base by a distance, but no out there. 2 strikes to Jaroszewski. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Big Jake. Pitch is outside for ball 1. Post 22 leads 7-2. We're in the top half of the 3rd inning. Stars trying to get a rally going. Hanson's at second. Majerus is at first. Ball is delivered to Jaroszewski. Fly ball will drop in for a hit, and the bases will be loaded. Jake Jaroszewski skies a pitch in front of Harrison Good in right field. I think there may have been a little bit of confusion between Marion Saylor and Harrison Good, between the center fielder and right fielder. They're kind of sorting it out, talking things over. Perhaps if there was no hesitation between those 2 outfielders for post 22, Jaroszewski may have been retired. Instead, the bases are loaded with no outs, and here comes Ashton Renas. Ashton had a clutch hit or 2 last night. We'll see what he can do here. Golden opportunity for the Stars to get back in this game with the bases loaded and no out. There's a wild pitch by Brian Atkinson, and that'll bring home the 3rd run of the game for post 400 as Colby Hansen trots home and the runners advance 90 feet. Gunnar Majerus is now at 3rd base. Jake Jaroszewski's at 2nd base. And Ashton Renas, with a 1-1 count, watches the next pitch, and he knocks it foul down the left field line. 1-2 count to the hitter, Ashton Renas. The Stars, to their credit, have scored a run in each of the 3 innings in which they have come to bat. Pitch from Atkinson is outside for ball 2. So we've got an even 2-2 count. Majerus is in scoring position at 3rd. Jake Jaroszewski's in scoring position at 2nd. Nobody out. Atkinson's pitch is swung on and missed, and the tag is applied, and that is a huge strikeout to Ashton Renas. That is the first strikeout of the game for Ashton Renas, and it comes at an opportune moment because with the ball not being put in play, 2 Stars remain stranded in scoring position now with 1 out in a 7-3 ball game in favor of the Hardhats. Coming to bat now is Caden Newbarth. Newbarth was able to get a single and score the 2nd run of the game for post 400 back in the top half of the 2nd inning. That seems like a long time ago. The top half of the 2nd. Pair of high pitches moves the count even to 1-1 to Newbarth. Brian Atkinson working quickly. He draws a foul cut from Newbarth, and it's now a 1-2 count. Can Atkinson get out of trouble perhaps here and get back-to-back Ks? Brian Atkinson ahead against the number 7 hitter, Caden Newbarth. Here comes the pitch to Caden. Brian winds, fires, and the ball is drilled high against the screen. And the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Hardhats leading by 4 runs, trying to get to 3-0 to start the year, would make for a very happy bus trip down to Cheyenne next weekend. Here comes the pitch, and the ball is popped up to left field. Could be a sac fly play. Zeke Farley makes the catch, throws home, and that will be a RBI sac fly to make it a 7-4 score. So a sac fly, an F7 if you're scoring at home, by Caden Newbarth, who was down in the count 1-2, able to bring home Gunnar Majerus. Jake Jaroszewski wisely decided to stay at second base. And now it's a 7-4 game, and give the Fargo Stars credit. They rallied last night when they were down 6-2 to retake the lead at 8-6. Now down 7-2, they have fought back to make it a 7-4 score here in the top half of the 3rd inning. So Caden Newbarth able to drive in a run. And that's the first run to come, RBI to come via a hit in this ball game. Here comes the pitch to Malachi Weremeyer. Weremeyer hits it to center, and it's caught by a Marion Saylor for out number 3. Give Brian Atkinson a big attaboy right there. He faced the bases loaded and nobody out, and he limited the Fargo post 400 Stars to only 2 runs, and the Hardhats will enter the bottom of the 3rd inning, leading 7-4. In the bottom half of the 3rd inning, the Stars were able to score 2 runs on 1 hit. There were no errors committed, and there was 1 man left on base. At the end of 2.5 innings of baseball here at Dave Plew Field, it's post 22-7, post 400 from Fargo 4. This is Hardhats TV. Welcome back, everybody. It is almost 2 o'clock local time, Mountain Time in Rapid City, and if you're watching from Fargo, it is about 3 o'clock where you are right now. Let's see if we can get some scores to you. The Toronto Blue Jays, they are leading the New York Yankees 5-0 in the Bronx. The Texas Rangers, the first place Texas Rangers, they're on top of the Oakland A's, a team headed to Vegas next year, 4-2. The Tampa Bay Rays sweep the Chicago White Sox this weekend with a 4-1 victory today at Tropicana Field. And the Philadelphia Phillies managed to break open a close game and beat the Colorado Rockies 9-3. The Phillies take 3 out of 4 in the city of brotherly love against the Colorado Rockies today. Hope you're having a great day. There's my man. There's the little boy wearing his San Diego Padres hat. I know I am no longer the only Padres fan in Rapid City when I see that little post-22 fan walking around with his brown and gold Padres hat. Somebody's bringing up that kid the right way. All right, we get to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and here come the post-22 Hardhats. Lee Negebauer will get things started. Lee was the victim of a ground out, one of those races to first base back in the 2nd inning. What a performance Lee had last night. A 4-inning shutout masterpiece. And there is a walk to Lee Negebauer issued by Calvin Jungling to start things off in the 3rd inning. I was talking to Darren Good yesterday, and Darren observed that there's really a difference between Lee Negebauer this year to last year. He's really pitching. And I noticed that Lee Negebauer was unflappable. If he gave up a hit or two, he just went to work on the batter and paid attention to the base runners, and he just lived to fight another at bat. And there's a wild pickoff throw, and Negebauer goes to second. Now he slides into third, and he barely gets in there. That was a dangerous decision by Lee Negebauer. You never want to record the first out at third base, but Lee was able, on a error on the pitcher, to take second base. Then he put his speed to good use. The mobile quarterback was able to slide into third base, and now the leadoff man is at third base with nobody out in this 3-run ball game with the Hardhats up 7-4 here in the bottom of the third inning. Great piece of base running by Lee Negebauer, who is leading off the third base bag at the moment. So that is the second error of the game on the post 400 Stars from Fargo. Here comes the pitch, and it is high and inside for ball 4, and now there are runners at the corners. Peyton Tipton able to draw a base on balls, and here comes the number 8 hitter, catcher Philip Benz. Philip was hit by Calvin Jungling his last time up, but was able to score as part of that 7-run outburst the Hardhats had back in inning number 2. Calvin Jungling squares up. He's thrown quite a few pitches these last 2 innings. Pitch by Jungling is over, or actually just outside, for a ball. Post 22 Baseball brought to you by so many great sponsors, including Meyer Dana Orthodontics and Black Hills Overhead Doors. There's a pitch inside for ball 2. And tonight, Marco's Pizza or Lintz Brothers Pizza, either one of those 2 pizzas that brings you Hardhats TV, a great choice for where you're going to have your dinner tonight. Here comes a pickoff attempt back to first base as Peyton Tipton slides back. Gunnar Majerus unable to apply a tag on Peyton Tipton. Here comes a pitch. It's a grounder, and that's going to be a stolen base. Peyton Tipton, with his second stolen bag of the ball game, moves into scoring position, and now the Hardhats, with a pair of runners in scoring position, a 3-0 count to Philip Benz with nobody out. Makings of a big inning here, and there's ball 4, and Benz draws a walk, and now the bases are loaded for Wilson Kiefer. Wilson, who had an inside the park home run as part of that exciting 10-9 back and forth victory, ready to go up with the bases loaded, and it looks like we're going to have our first pitching change of the ball game. Calvin Jungling will be taken out, it appears, as the Hardhats look to break open this game with the bases loaded, nobody out. And give credit to the wonderful post-22 Hardhat fans. They make a lot of noise and clap for Calvin Jungling, who competed. And I'm not so sure Calvin has been pitching in this spot very often. We were told a couple of good players for post 400 from Fargo did not make the trip to Rapid City because their high school had a prom. And of course, I guess that meant they had dates. And they were at the prom last night. So anyway, the Hardhats are facing a quality, top-notch program, the post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota, but not all of the stars in the post 400 galaxy, you might say, made the western trek to the Black Hills region. So we have a pitching change, and we'll see who the new pitcher is. We've got some John Denver on the public address system, and boy, nothing says America, quite like John Denver. That's for sure. You don't see a John Denver in other countries. You never will. There's only one man that's John Denver. Anyway, 7-4 our score. The Hardhats lead the Stars from post 400 by 3 runs. The bases are juiced. And now we will see who comes to the plate next. It's going to be a very entertaining outing coming up for the relief pitcher that's in the game for post 400. We'll see who that pitcher is when he's announced. Coming up to bat now, Wilson Kiefer with the bases loaded. He's able to draw a walk. We're glad you're with us this afternoon. What a great day at the ballpark we are enjoying for sure. 1-1 count to Wilson Kiefer from the relief pitcher. And Kiefer drives it to center, and that'll drop for a hit. A run will score. Everyone is safe, and it's now 8-4. That run charged to Calvin Jungling as Harrison Good, Harrison Good is able to score. Lee Negebauer is able to score right there. And Peyton Tipton now is at third base. Philip Bentz is at second. Wilson Kiefer on that RBI single, his second RBI of the game, by the way, has made it 8-4. And the Hardhats are in business, scoring for the second consecutive inning and extending their advantage to 8-4. Coming up to bat now is Zeke Farley. Zeke, the leadoff hitter in the lineup, he is 0 for 1 in this game. He reached and scored on an error, stole a base. Zeke has a chance to break this game wide open yet again. Here comes the pitch. I think it's Gunnar Majerus that's out there for post 400. I recognize Gunnar Majerus. Here comes the pitch to Farley, and it's low for ball 3. The Hardhats trying to manufacture a run. There is a play at the plate, and that is a potential force out, but it is going to be a run as Zeke Farley able to drive in a run with that fielder's choice, and that makes it 9-4 as that ball was hit softly to third base. Peyton Tipton was able to beat the throw home, and now the Hardhats lead by 5, and Philip Bentz is at third base. Wilson Kiefer is at second, and Zeke Farley is at first, and the bases are still loaded with no outs for a Marion Saylor. Saylor pops the ball over the grandstand, and we're now back to action here as the bases are loaded. The bases are loaded with nobody out for the Hardhats, and there's a hit by pitch, and that'll bring home another run for post 22, and it's now 9-4 in favor of the Hardhats. And Philip Bentz will cross home plate. And it's 10-4 in favor of the Hardhats. Things are definitely going the way that the Hardhats want them to. 10-4. The Hardhats are up by 6 runs. The bases are loaded. Nobody's out. And Marion Saylor able to bring in a run with that hit by pitch a moment ago. And now we've got a ball hit to center field, and that will drive home another run as Hayden Hollick is able to bring home a run. And for the second consecutive inning, the Hardhats have managed to bat around. And I think actually they're going to call that an error on the second baseman. So that is not going to be a hit or an RBI to Hayden Hollick. But it drives in a run, and now Harrison Good comes up to bat, and he gets a base hit to center field, and 2 runs score, and the Hardhats have broken it wide open. It's 13-4. Harrison Good with a 2-run RBI single. Now Harrison has 3 RBIs in the ball game, is able to bring home Marion Saylor and Zeke Farley. And the Hardhats, after scoring 7 runs in the second inning, have now scored 6 runs and still nobody out here in the third inning. The Hardhats are rolling, and they are looking like a 3-0 team, folks. They are just unstoppable here in the second and third innings of this game. And to provide some perspective, the Hardhats have 13 runs in this game in 3 innings. Last night they had 13 runs in 3 innings. Seems like they're almost averaging at this point about 26 to 30 runs a game if they could play 7 innings all the time. Wow, how about these Hardhats? Runners are at first and second. Alex Dietrich is at the plate. Hollick's at third. Harrison Goods at first. Ball lifted to deep center field. The ball is caught. Ball is thrown back to the cutoff man and now back to second, and the runners must retreat. So there is finally an out. Alex Dietrich lifted the ball, I'd say about 375 feet in distance, and it is retired and caught by the center fielder for out number 1. So it took 11 hitters here in the bottom of the third inning before a Hardhat was retired. And now here comes Lee Negebauer. Lee Negebauer coming up to hit. He scored his last time up, reached on an error, was able to take an extra bag, and that sparked this huge outburst that is still in progress here at Fitzgerald Stadium. Pitch by Jarris is over for a strike. 13-4 our score. The Hardhats lead by 9 runs, 2 men on, 1 out. Negebauer smashes it hard. This could be 2. Throw to second, throw to first, in time, and Lee Negebauer grounds into a double play. It's officially a 1-4-3 double play. And the Hardhats are able to score 6 runs on a total of 3 hits. There were 2 errors committed, and there were 1 man left on base, and through 3 innings of play, it is 13-4 in favor of the Hardhats, as the Hardhats do significant damage and have their largest lead of this ball game. They were up 7-2 after 2 innings, and now the Hardhats have major separation, leading 13-4. The Hardhats will have a new pitcher here in the 4th inning. We'll try to identify that pitcher for you when we can. How about the Hardhats? 13-4, they lead the post 400 Stars And the Stars now have plenty of time to mount a comeback, but you can tell the Stars have definitely run out of pitching at this stage, and they're having a hard time scoring a lot of runs as they've been unable to get that big run. But say this about Fargo 400, post 400, they have been able to score in every inning in this game. So certainly, so we'll see who will start in a moment. They're doing the 50-50 raffle now, so we'll have a little bit of a break in the action.
854-745 blue ticket for 50-50. Winner receives $77. Thank you all for supporting our.
I want to give a shout out to my son Oliver, the voice of the Hardhats TV this year. He'll be joining you. My name is Mike Fell. I'm Oliver's father, and I'm filling in until Oliver is able to make the trek north. And Oliver should know, I think he does know, I am facing my son in fantasy baseball today, and I took out my second starting pitcher today because I liked where my pitching numbers were, and I made that adjustment while that rally was going on. Don't ask me how I can multitask, but when it comes to baseball, I proved right there that I can. Here we go. Hopefully I made the right decision. We'll see how that plays out. So leading things off here in the fourth inning for post 400, it's Kane Mathiasen. We'll try to get the identification of the new pitcher for post 22 when we can. 0-2 count to Mathiasen. Ball is drilled right back to the pitcher. Throw to first is too high, but it still might be an out, and it's not an out. Oh my, the pitcher fielded the play perfectly, but then when he threw to first, he put way too much lift and inaccuracy on the throw to first, and that is going to be an error on the new pitcher for post 22. And that just looks like a case of some new nerves. That's just what that looked like. Pitch for post 22 is outside for a ball. The Hardhats leading by 9 runs. Throw back to first by the left-handed pitcher is a little bit off the mark, or actually really it was not much of a lead from Kane Mathiasen there. Here comes the 1-0 pitch by the Hardhats reliever, and the ball is fouled back by Caleb Christensen. Check that. We've got Matt Bryant. Actually Christensen's at first base with that error. I got a little thrown off by my scorebook. Matt Bryant is now hitting, the number 2 man in the lineup for the Stars. Bryant fouls the ball down the left field line and out of play into the Hardhats bullpen. And we'll do it all over again. 1-2 count to Matt Bryant, post 22, leading 13-4 here in the fourth inning. We think the temperature has gone above 50 degrees. I'm going to check. It's really close to 50 degrees. We will see. Yep, it's still, nope, let's see. We might be at 50. We are. We have reached 50 degrees. How about that? Finally 50. That's where the temperature stands here in Rapid City here at 2:20 local time. 2:18 local time. Pitch to Bryant, fouled away. And this count remains at 1-2. Caleb Christensen, the leadoff hitter here in the fourth inning, is on base, taking a very minute lead off the bag. It's hard to steal against the left-hander. That's who's on the mound for post 22, as the pitcher showing he can throw to first just fine. It was just in that heat of that moment where he had the ball sail away on his throw to first that allowed the leadoff man to reach here in the 4th inning. Pitch goes to Matt Bryant. He fouls it away again. Bryant, a pesky left-handed hitter for post 400, keeping this at-bat going much longer than most. Here comes the pitch from the left-hander for post 22. The ball is hit up the middle. This could be 2. Oh, it's not even going to be a single out, as that time the ball went through both infielders. I'm not sure if that was an error or a hit. No, they're going to call it an error, and I'm not sure who they're going to charge it to. I think they'll charge it to the second baseman. But a pair of errors have allowed the first 2 hitters to reach against the relief pitcher for Rapid City post 22. So there are 2 on with nobody out. And now here comes Colby Hansen, the number 3 hitter for the Stars. Pitch is low for a ball. Boy, if you're a Hardhats fan, you're really thankful that the boys are up by 9. Because if this was a close game, these kind of errors would be driving you bonkers. Next pitch is inside for ball 2. Post 22, trying to start 3-0 on the year. We will have the road trip coming up in Cheyenne for you next Saturday and Sunday. I will make the road trip. We'll have a doubleheader coming your way Saturday, and we'll have a single game with an early 11 o'clock first pitch on Sunday afternoon. So make sure you tune in on Hardhats TV for our 3 games down in Cheyenne, the state capital of Wyoming. We've got a 2-1 count now to Colby Hansen. Pitcher looks back to second. Now fires home, and the ball is hit towards third. It's handled by Hollick. Throw to first is in time, and that's a double play. Hayden Hollick gets a great round of applause. What a play by Hayden. He is able to get the double play. What an amazing defensive third baseman Hayden Hollick is. Wow. Hollick is able to get a unassisted 5-3 double play, and that really flips the tables on the post 400 Stars. Instead of 2 or 3 on with nobody out, now there's only 1 man on and there are 2 outs, as Matt Bryant is standing at second base. But Hayden Hollick able to get the 5-3 double play unassisted. You don't see that very often. That's the second double play of the game for the Hardhats, and now Gunnar Majerus is up to bat, and he fouls the ball away, and the count evens at 1-1. The Stars have scored in every inning, but they have yet to score here in the 4th. If they do not score here, you get the sense that the Hardhats will win the game and get the sweep. The Hardhats have out-hit the Stars 6-3 today. This has been a sloppy game. The Hardhats have committed 4 errors. The Stars have committed 3. The post 22 leads 13-4, and that's the stat that matters more than the others. Here comes the pitch to Gunnar Majerus. It's fouled back, and the count evens at 1-1. Or rather, check that, and moves to 1-2. The post 22 Hardhats facing a Fargo Legion team that came in 9-3 with impressive wins down in Florida and Iowa, but getting all they can handle from our boys in powder blue today. And there's a base hit by Gunnar Majerus. That'll bring home a run. And for post 400, if you're looking for some silver lining, it's right there. Post 400 has scored in all 4 innings in which they've come to bat in this ball game. Gunnar Majerus with a RBI single is able to bring in Matt Bryant from second base. And it's now 13-5 as Jake Jaroszewski comes up to bat, and he fouls the ball into the visitors' dugout. Jake Jaroszewski today, he is 0 for 0. He has a pair of walks so far. He has been as far as second base, yet to score. Jaroszewski had a pretty good outing in Game 1 last night, and he's a good hitter. The number 5 hitter in the lineup, Jake Jaroszewski. Post 22, trying to get out of the inning here. Pickoff attempt. Keeps the runner Gunnar Majerus somewhat honest as he scampers back to first base. Here comes the pitch to home plate. The ball is fouled away out of play. Well, that will move the count to 1-2. So post 22 is a strike away from limiting the damage to 1 run here in the top of the 4th inning. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Jake Jaroszewski. The pitch is just below the strike zone, and the count now evens at 2-2. The Hardhats trying to get out of the top half of the 4th with an 8-run advantage. Here comes the pitch. Ball hit up the middle. It is fielded cleanly. Stepping on the bag is shortstop Wilson Kiefer, and that retires the side. So a U6 unassisted defensive play up the middle gets the force that was in effect with Majerus being at first base, and that retires the side. In the top of the 4th inning, the Stars are able to score 1 run. It was unearned. They are able to put up 1 hit, and they left no one on base. And the game now moves to the bottom half of the 4th inning with the Hardhats on top 13-5. The Stars, to their credit, have scored all 4 innings in which they have come to the plate today. But the Stars have not been able to have a big inning. They have been held in check with some really good pitching by the post 22 Hardhats, and that brings us now to the bottom half of inning number 4. And keep in mind, if the Hardhats are able to rack up 7 runs in the 4th inning, that would end the game, as the Hardhats would be up by 15 runs after 4. Actually, you know what? I think as long as you're up by 10 runs after 4, you can get the victory, because that's what we saw last night when the game ended 13-0 after 4 innings. So if the Hardhats can get 2 runs here in their half of the 4th inning, they could win it after 4. And there is a ground out, a play by the pitcher in time, throwing down to first base, a 1-3 put out on the leadoff hitter Peyton Tipton here in the 4th, retires the leadoff man, and now Philip Benz will come up to bat for the Hardhats. So the Hardhats need to get 2 runs here in the 4th inning to clinch this ball game and get the sweep against the post 400 Stars, who they currently lead 13-5. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Mike Fell with you, filling in for Oliver Fell, my son, who was the voice of Hardhats TV this season. It's been a lot of fun being with you here at Fitzgerald Stadium last night and this afternoon. I'll be making the road trip with the team this coming weekend down to Cheyenne, and excited about that trip. We'll see if the Hardhats can keep it going down in the state capital of the Cowboy State next weekend. 2 games on Saturday afternoon and 1 big game on Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. And a leadoff walk a walk is drawn by Phillip Benz with 1 out. And now Wilson Kiefer comes up to bat. If Kiefer could get one of those inside the park home runs like he had yesterday, this game would be over, with the Hardhats leading by 8, 13-5. Throw back to first, not in time. Phillip Benz, the catcher, he showed some good speed on the bases in the second win of the doubleheader last night. Here comes the throw home. That pitch is inside, and count now moves to 1-0 on Wilson Kiefer. Kiefer, 1 out of 1 today, has a walk and a hit and 2 RBIs. Wilson doing a lot of damage for Kelvin Torvey in that 9-hole, and there's a pass ball, and that'll advance Phillip Benz to second base. That's our first PB that we have had in this ball game, as our own PB, Phillip Benz, if you take Phillip's initials, advances from first to second with that pass ball. Here comes a pitch down central, and Kiefer fouls it away, and the count moves to 2-1. Wilson Kiefer, now with a man in scoring position, has a chance to match his teammate Harrison Good with 3 RBIs in this ball game. Pitcher looks back to second. No play is on at second base. Pitch down the middle is not down the middle. It's outside the zone for ball 3. So we have a 3-1 count with 1 out, 1 on. We're in the bottom half of inning number 4. There's a throw back to second base, and Phillip Benz recognized what was on and slid right back to second base. Here comes the 3-1 offering to Wilson Kiefer from post 400, and that ball is fouled away, and the count goes full. You're watching coverage of Hardhats TV on a 50-degree sunny Sunday afternoon here in Rapid City. 3-2 pitch with 1 out is drilled to left field and through past the shortstop for a hit. That'll bring home Phillip Benz, and Wilson Kiefer with 3 RBIs in this ball game. With his trio of ribbies, he matches Harrison Good with his 3 RBIs, and that makes the score 14-5. Phillip Benz, by the way, has scored all 3 times he has appeared at the plate today, and he has yet to get a hit, but he has scored 3 runs. Way to go, Phillip. And how about Wilson Kiefer? And Kiefer takes off for second. Throw is not in time, and Wilson Kiefer with a stolen base moves the winning game-clinching run here in the bottom of the 4th inning into scoring position for Zeke Farley. Zeke could win the game right here, right now, with a base hit. Pitch to Zeke, and Zeke bunts the ball foul. And Kelvin Torvey looks like he wants to just manufacture the winning run with Kiefer standing at second base. Farley, perhaps with a bunt, can advance the runner to third. Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Farley. Zeke takes, and it's now a 2-1 count. For the Hardhats, they lead 14-5. If you lead by 5 runs, or 10 runs after 4 innings, the game is called in your favor. Here comes the pitch. Ball hit towards the shortstop. Throw to first is in time, and now That is the second out of the inning as Farley is thrown out with a infield ground out, 6-3 if you're scoring at home. And a Marion Saylor comes up with the winning run. Wilson Kiefer at third base. Now a wild pitch here would end the game, or a pass ball. Also, of course, a base hit would end the game. Here comes the first pitch to Saylor. It's outside for ball one. The Hardhats with a chance to get a technical knockout and a 3-game sweep against the post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. There's a pitch and a bouncer up to home plate. Moves the count to 2-0. On deck is Hayden Hollick for the Hardhats. Hardhats playing with their powder blue home jerseys, leading 2-0. Pitch is low, and that's going to be ball 3. The Hardhats in control this afternoon, much like they were in control in game 2 of last night's doubleheader sweep. And there's ball 4, and now there are runners at the corners. The Hardhats have scored in innings 2, 3, and 4. Hardhats with their season-high run total so far in this 3-game opening set, with 14 runs here in the 4th inning, where we are currently standing in the bottom of the 4th inning. Runners at the corners and 2 outs. Pitch to Hayden Hollick is inside and high for ball 1. Hayden Hollick's had a good game today. He has a pair of RBIs. He had a 2-run double in the second. 1 for 2 today. Pitch is inside to Hayden Hollick. And now with Harrison Good on deck, with the game-clinching run at third base, we'll wait the 2-0 pitch. That pitch is low for ball 3. And right now, the Stars' relief pitcher, their bullpen, really struggling to throw strikes. Here comes a pitch, and that's ball 4, and we've got a base on balls to Hayden Hollick. And right now, the bullpen for post 400, resembling some of those 1980s Texas Rangers bullpens that used to throw more balls than strikes at about an 8-to-1 ratio. So the bases are loaded. Game-clinching run is at third base in the person of Wilson Kiefer. Marion Saylor's at second base. Hayden Hollick's at first. And Harrison Good is ready to perhaps put the sweep on ice with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and here comes Hayden. Here comes... Or actually, we're going to have a pinch hitter for Harrison Good. Tate Crossweight will bat left-handed with the bases loaded here in the 4th inning. Pitch to Tate. Tate drives the ball to left field, and that's going to be, I believe, a winner. 1 run scores, 2 run scores, and sliding into third base cleanly is Hayden Hollick. And the game, I think, will continue. It's 16-5. They're, I think, going to go ahead and play this game to where one team has to be up by 15 runs. They're not going to have it stop after a 10-run lead in 4 innings like last night when the game was ended in the 4th inning. So it's 16-5. Tate Crossweight pinch hitting for Harrison Good, able to get a 2-run double in the bottom half of the 4th inning as Wilson Kiefer and Marion Saylor crosses home plate. Now hitting for the Hardhats is Alex Dietrich. And the Hardhats lead 16-5 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. They are in great position to win this game. Runners are at the corners. Crosswaite's at first base. Howick is at third. And now hitting is Alex Dietrich. Dietrich today, 1 for 3 on the afternoon, and he is hit by a pitch, and the bases are loaded yet again. Tate Crosswaite advances to second. On a hit by pitch, Alex Dietrich goes to first. Unofficially, that is the third hit by pitch this afternoon. And here comes Lee Negebauer, the tall left-handed swinger. Pitch is high and outside for ball 1. Negebauer with the bases jammed and 2 outs. He could clinch the game here with a grand slam if he could drive it over the fence. Ball is high, and that's ball 2. Wouldn't that be something if the first home run hit out of the ballpark this weekend came right here? Here comes a pitch to Negebauer. He fouls the ball away for strike 1. The Hardhats closing in on a sweep over Fargo post 400. We think this game will move into the 5th inning. It's an 11-run lead for the Hardhats currently. Ball is hit hard by Negebauer, fielded by the second baseman. Throw to first in time, and that will retire the side. But the Hardhats plate 3 runs on a total of 2 hits, and they leave 3 men on base with the bases loaded. There were no errors committed in the 4th inning, and through 4 innings of play, it's post 22, 16, and post 400, 5. You're watching Hardhats TV live from Rapid City on a crisp 50-degree sunny afternoon in Rapid City, South Dakota. And we will have a 5th inning. If the Hardhats are leading, this much I know, if the Hardhats are able to get 3 outs and lead by 10 runs, this game will end in the middle of the 5th inning. So we think we may have seen the last of the Hardhats at the plate today. We shall see. The Hardhats leading 16-5. Post 22, able to hit double figures in runs scored in all 3 of these games against the post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. The Hardhats had 10 runs in game 1 last night. They had 13 runs in the shutout victory in 4 innings yesterday, and now they have 16 runs with a 16-5 advantage over Fargo post 400 today. And now the Stars will come to the plate with Ashton Renas to lead things off. Renas, the number 6 hitter. The Stars will bring the 6, 7, and 8 hitters to the plate here in the top half of inning number 5. Here comes the pitch, and the ball is hit squarely to Wilson Kiefer at second, across to first in time. Dietrich routinely handles that throw to first, and now there is 1 gone here in the top of the 5th. Rivas grounds out 6-3 if you're scoring at home. Caden Newharth will come up to bat for post 400. Here comes the pitch by the lefty for post 22, and that is outside for ball 1. Caden Newharth today, 1 for 1 with a sac fly and an RBI. Pitch to Caden's over for strike 1. Post 22, 2 outs away from a 3-0 start to begin the year. Here comes the pitch, and it is strike 2. Post 22, getting it done at the plate, getting it done in the field, and you really have to give credit to the resourcefulness of the post 22 pitchers this afternoon. They have yet to give up any big innings. And there's a great catch by Peyton Tipton at second base. He climbed the ladder like a fireman right there. And he gets out number 2 and retires Caden Newhart with a great grab. Full extension by Caden Newhart, and that's going to send one of the post 400 fans to the parking lot as a lady gets up with a post 400 hat and jacket and walks out. She may have seen a little too much of the Hardhats today. Hardhats lead 16-5. Malachi Weremeyer is the batter for post 400, and he fouls away a pitch over the plate to even the count at 1-1. Malachi Weremeyer trying to keep hopes alive with the Hardhats leading by 11 runs, 16-5. The Hardhats are 1 out away from a 3-0, a 3-game sweep of their opponents from the American Legion ranks in Fargo, North Dakota. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2 to Weremeyer, and the Hardhats are going for the 3-0 start with this pitch, and it is low and outside for ball 2. The Hardhats are a strike away from starting 3-0 and getting the sweep here at home against the Stars from post 400 in Fargo, North Dakota. Here comes the pitch. Ball is hit squarely to center field, and this inning will continue. Malachi Weremeyer gets his first hit of the ball game. He's now 1 for 2 on the day, and that'll bring up Kane Mathiasen. Kane, the number 9 hitter, set to come to bat here. Mathiasen, a left-handed hitter, will face a left-handed pitcher for post 22. The Hardhats are an out away from a 3-0 start and a very happy trip to Cheyenne next weekend. Pitch over the plate is going to make it an 0-1 count to Mathiasen. Hardhats in their home powder blues looking to celebrate big time today. Here's a pitch up the middle. It could be the third out of the inning, and it is! Kiefer able to touch the bag, and the Hardhats win 16-5 over the post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. That final out was a put out by the shortstop, Wilson Kiefer. It was a tag play, a fielder's choice if you're scoring. And for the Hardhats, for the first time all afternoon, they keep the Stars off the scoreboard in the top half of an inning. And the game ends with a 16-5 victory for the post 22 Hardhats. The Hardhats celebrate a win in 4.5 innings today, and they move their record to 3-0, and they will head to Cheyenne unbeaten with a 3-game sweep under their belt against one of the 3 Legion teams from Fargo, North Dakota. What a win for the Hardhats and Kelvin Torvey. Post 22 celebrating a great victory this afternoon. They were led with a pair of players racking up 3 RBIs. Harrison Good had 3 ribbies, as did his teammate Wilson Kiefer. And Kelvin Torvey and the Hardhats celebrate a win today. They win by 11 runs, 16-5. The post 400 Stars from Fargo came into Rapid City 9-3, and they leave 9-6. We wish good luck to the post 400 Stars. They were a well-coached, resilient team, but their pitching did not have answers for the bats for post 400. And post 400, very workmanlike, able to sweep the series. They win the first game 10-9. They win game number 2 13-0. and they get the sweep today with a 16-5 count over the post 400 Stars. The Hardhats are 3-0, and they celebrate a tremendous win here at home to start the year. Well, we want to thank you for watching Hardhats TV. This has been Mike Fell bringing you the action, filling in for my son Oliver Fell, who is 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away from bringing you the action. I will be with you in the Wyoming state capital of Cheyenne next weekend as the Hardhats try to get to 4-0, 5-0, and maybe even 6-0 as they make the trip down to Cheyenne in what should be some very exciting baseball. We'll have a doubleheader coming your way next weekend. We will start with pregame coverage at 12:30 local time, mountain time, as we bring you a doubleheader from Cheyenne. And then Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, we'll be with you bright and early at 10:30. You might want to go to 8 o'clock Mass if you're Catholic next Sunday, because we will have early action for you from Cheyenne next weekend. Well, the Hardhats celebrate a sweep over a very quality opponent, the post 400 Stars from Fargo, North Dakota. Thank you for watching, and have a great Sunday and a great rest of your weekend and a great week, everybody. We will talk to you from Cheyenne, Wyoming next Saturday afternoon at 12:30. The Hardhats are 3-0. Celebrate, everybody. You have been watching Hardhats TV.